Hey, Trendsetters, Happy New Year. I'm here with Phil Benn. Phil, let me introduce you as a trendsetter, okay? Let's do this from the very beginning. Let me do this. Let me do this. You guys know Phil Benn. Phil Benn is a financial strategist. Phil Benn is a um real estate guru. Phil Benn is the investment man. And one of the reasons why I have asked Phil Ben to help me with Trendsetters Talk podcast, especially with these financial strategies and these workshops that we have going on, is because Phil said something to me one time. We were sitting down chatting, and he said, Heidi, it doesn't make sense if I have everything up here and can't give it to my people and try to help. And that was so impressive. That really, really it stayed with me. And somewhere months later, I said, Phil, come help me out with this thing. And he was more than willing and happy to. And this is the reason why Phil is the man. So he not only has a background in music. I mean, we're not even going to touch that. Phil know every you can name rap, you can name reggae, you can name soca, you can name. This is the man. He done spun records with the best, the best, the best, the best of the best, the best of the best. And I applaud you for that accomplishment, Phil. You still in that arena. I know that you out there promoting still and doing what you can. And this is the reason why Phil is here with us in 2025. And this is what we're doing. Phil and I were just having a conversation. Today is Martin Luther King's Day, and we're having a conversation about the new administration, and, we have to recognize what this means for us financially.
Yes, indeed.
Can't continue to make the same decisions that we had prior to this new administration, right? So we're going to have to start really thinking about what's coming down the pipeline for us,
Agreed.
you
Right?
know? And I'm hoping that as things are evolving and as things are changing, we can have impactful conversation that will help our people to sustain the best way that we can through all of the changes that's coming. Because one thing I did hear him say, and not him alone, everyone that was praying, Phil,
Mhm.
they were praying for the people to be able to sustain the change. And I found that quite interesting. I've never heard an inauguration where, all of these predominant people of faith came and, usually they usher in the new president.
Mhm.
This time they prayed for the nation
Mhm.
and prayed for the people.
And you know why?
So that goes to speak.
So you know why? Hard times are coming. And the thing that the question people will ask, many people will ask is why? Why? But those that are asking why do not pay attention to what's happening nationally, what's going on. Everybody who is talking and everybody's in their little echo chamber. And as you were saying, uh, right now you're in Texas, I'm in New York. You said there's a different conversation going on in that state. But in New York, where we are in a blue state, there's a different conversation because
Absolutely.
in a blue state, the people in a blue state have been pampered and given everything.
It's not
So there's a
happening any
different type of
longer, Phil.
expectations,
It's
here.
not happening
But
any
from
longer.
in a red state.
Phil, I'm in a red state, and I told you this is what made us jump on. I'm hearing different conversation, and the conversation that I'm hearing is that now the Black race in
Mhm.
America is under the minority.
Absolutely, but that
So we're not
projection
even
is there.
considered. There's a chain of things. So if you're under the minority, which is the bottom, we are under the minority, we're in a pit.
But that information, that data has been put out over a decade that by 2050, the Black race will be the poorest race in America.
Well, this is
People don't
something,
pay attention to this stuff.
we have to go back to reading. We have to go back to listening to the news, and they're going to monitorize all these things now. So it's a little bit too late for us to get aboard. This is why we got Trendsetters Talk.
Mhm.
Because Trendsetters, we got to talk about it now.
Yeah.
Said we don't have a choice. At least he did say, Phil, he did say that he's going to ban all freedom of speech things that were put into effect by the previous administration, right? So that means that we can say whatever we want to say, however we want to say, whatever is said is going to be said, and there's no banning. This is America, and we're going to have the right to say what we're going to have. We
But
have
here's
the
what.
right to say what we say.
Yeah, that's all well and good if you
But
give people the freedom to speak. But at the end of the day, who has the microphone? Who has the biggest microphone? Who has the biggest platforms? And the people with the biggest platforms, what are they sharing? You follow?
right.
That is the problem because those that actually need to have a say so, like you and I, will never get that loud microphone, that amplified,
But you know
because
what? We still have to try, Phil. And I get where you're going. But you know what? One thing about a conversation is that it spreads, right? And we know how quickly a conversation can spread. So if they come on Mondays and they join us on Mondays and they say, you know what, Heidi and Phil is coming on and they're having these financial conversations, or they having these conversations, or
like
I heard Heidi and Phil say, because it's going to come down to a point where people are jumping on and they got their pens and papers, right? Because this is what I'm doing here. And we talked about that too. There's a whole bunch of new catchphrases now. They got things like long-term investments and coins and trust and things that, other cultures have been taking advantage of for years and generations, right? This finally starts trickling down to us after we land in the pit,
mhm.
right? But there's a few of us are going to take advantage of that. So this is how come I'm jumping on with my pen and my pad, because there's going to be things that you say, and there's other, and your colleagues are going to come on as well.
Mhm.
And you guys are gonna gotta help us through this.
Yeah,
You
but we
understand?
starting.
In a sense of reality, we gotta push the pause button a little bit until we really find out, because things are gonna be devastating. When it was time for us to buy houses, when it was time for us to make investments, when it was time for us to do what we had to do, we bought Maybachs and parked them outside of the projects.
Projects.
We bought with the Birkin bags and got on the bus.
Mhm.
So we're gonna have to pull it back a little bit in order for us to figure out how to get this right. What other communities did and how they resourced their money, it stayed within their community. They built up their police, they built up their educational systems, they built up their hospitals. This is something that we never did.
But here's why.
And like you said, this is a blue state. All that funding is about to get cut.
Yeah, well, here, listen. The destruction of the Black people as of today is by Black people who
That's
have Black
why
platforms.
this is how come.
A lot of the rappers that are now jumping onto this man's bandwagon, they had an opportunity, right? And actually, a lot of them got what they got in wealth by peddling crap back into the Black community. Because a lot of the stuff what they're saying on the microphone did not benefit them. that their fan base were exploited for the sake of them stepping up, and now they have their platforms. What are they doing now? How could you consider that you are moving forward and getting traction in life by dumbing down your community? And now that you're there, now that you've reached, now you're jumping into some other area and not even saying, okay, what can I do now to educate people? Because as I started out earlier, it's the people who have the loudest microphones are the ones are going to really now make our message to seem less significant because they are the celebrity. And the
Yes.
problem in America is that we glorify celebrities, we worship celebrities. So when truth is being shared, any celebrity can now say one thing and then the truth now becomes obsolete. This is the problem in the Black community. I have said it many times. Let me
You
finish
know,
the statement, right?
mhm.
Look at this. The Black kid in the hood, he gets his traction in the hood from the community around him who is celebrating him as he's moving up in his success. His success. When he gets out, he gets where he gets out of the hood, he's not doing anything. Now his circle of friends will be where that money is. So he's no longer looking back. I don't see how many of them are actually looking back. You made a point earlier on about these communities, they're creating their own education systems. They're building their own houses. The question comes down when you drive, as someone in real estate, I drive around and I see schools, right? Let's look at public schools. You see, I see the Muslims, they have their own schools. They build their own schools from the ground up. I see the Jews,
Yes.
they build their schools from the ground up. They're
Yes.
maintaining everything. But then
Yes.
when I drive around, all I see is the little storefront churches. They're all over. They're just as in the same quantities as bodegas. But when you're inside of these communities, what are they doing to elevate these things? What are they doing to elevate their communities? Because the Black church, from the beginning of, well, let's say, even during slavery, the Black church was the way how messages was sent out. The pastor, he set the agenda for that community. What is going on with the Black church? Right? What is going on with our Black celebrities? Why aren't they seeing it as part of their obligation to give back? Because they did not get their traction from other people who do not look like them. And I have a big issue with that. You do have a responsibility. You have a social responsibility. If not, you figure that it's not because you of your skin color. You have to go back and help your people. What about a social responsibility, understanding that if I bring up my people from the bottom, I lift the whole country up because America has already remains supported by Black money and Black people spending their money ignorantly. This is what keeps America afloat. That $1 trillion we waste everywhere on stuff that we don't need.
Can I say something? You know, it's
Definitely.
funny that you have touched on so many things, and I really had a conversation about this earlier. One of the things that I got so upset about was I understand that we have kids that have coats for $750, but there's no materials in school. There's no staff. But your kid gonna wear that for 3 months, and next winter they gonna ask for another one. And now it's not gonna be $750. It's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
$1,200. And the next coat gonna be what? You
Mm-hmm.
know, things don't stay, they move up.
Yeah.
And if we teach our kids that we can have this so freely, I don't understand. My kid got a $750 coat, but there's no computers in the school.
Yeah,
You understand what I'm saying?
absolutely.
When I hear kids, they're like, look, we need new computers, we need this, that, and the other, they need, you know, um, black staff. You understand what I'm saying? How
Yeah,
can we accomplish this if we're not investing in it?
mhm.
How can these things happen? Like I said, everybody wants to go away, everybody, and this is it's like a crime in America in the Black communities. I went away, I enjoyed myself, and I come back and there's an eviction notice on the door.
Yeah.
How many times you heard that, Phil?
I know enough time because I was renting an apartment and the owner said that one young lady came and he said, "Oh, I know her. I know her. She is the what did he call her? He called her the jab jab queen because he says um she's the loudest. She's making her money. She's a professional, but she's the loudest. But she's always traveling. And he says, I don't want to have that issue that, she would prioritize traveling and not pay my rent. So these are the things,
What
these are
you,
real things.
what you just said doesn't even make sense. Here I am traveling, but I'm renting.
Priorities, priorities, priorities.
What people don't understand in any given time, once that lease is up, I don't have to extend it.
No, yeah, this is remember we're in a blue state. We're in a blue state where the tenants have more rights than the homeowners.
But
And
still, once that lease runs out,
that the lease does
I
not,
don't have to renew it.
no, that lease does not, sometimes the lease doesn't even worth the ink that's printed. I'm telling you, this city of New York favors. I just came off the phone and
You know what, Phil? To tell you honestly, this is what does be pissing some people off, right?
not some.
Because and I hate to use this word, but let's think about it. It's so many things that's going wrong in this Black community of ours, our Black community. First of all, we got the wrong mindset on a lot of things.
Mhm.
We trying to take advantage of one another, and
Yes.
we're trying to take advantage of the system overall. You just said 90% of the homeowners are not Blacks. And they understand that when the renter understands that what I can get away with the foolishness, I could not pay for a year or two in a blue
Mhm.
state, right?
Yep. Mhm.
Until things get finalized. This is how our ideologies has got us under the minority.
Yeah, because you are destroying when you sit in somebody's house and they fall behind on their mortgage, you just destroyed somebody's a
And
generation.
we begin to get a reputation built on one person. It's just like you said. If the wrong person gets the mic from our community, and that's what they're speaking about. That's what and we saw this. We saw
Mhm.
this and we spoke about this. We saw this during those checks that were distributed back in when it was COVID, right?
Right. Mhm.
And they went around and they went into the Black communities and they were asking people, so what did you spend your money on? Right? And people were talking about, well, I got my hair did and I got my nails done. And I bought a new car. And then when they went to other ethnicities,
Mhm.
People were talking about they put down money towards their house. They put down money on their children's college. They put down money and made tangible investments.
Mhm. Yeah, they upgraded their
A
home.
whole different conversation. I was so again,
No, you got to be embarrassed.
it's
It's our
embarrassing.
people. It's
You do this. They know who to ask these questions to. And
mhm,
know how we are going to be portrayed. You
right.
know, we gotta get on platforms where we host and we have that type of influence. You understand what I'm saying? That we ask the questions and the right answers are heard.
No, I
They
think
are some. They are some that really yo, how you thinking? How you
that's the
thinking
question.
right now? You got $5,000 in your hand.
That is the question there. Why we this is the question what should come out or people should go away from when they listen to us. How am I thinking? Is my thinking right? And I think that is the key through everything that we sit down and do is to have people question themselves. Am I
Absolutely.
thinking these decisions and them are going to create generational wealth? It's can we step away from this thing, poor people showing off on poor people? This
Oh
is
my gosh. You
go
said
ahead.
it. You said it. Who's noticing? Who's noticing? Who's paying attention? Who's paying attention to that? Who's paying attention to a kid with a $750 coat? Who's
Mhm.
paying attention to that? They got kids walking around with $1,000 boots, all kind of madness. I remember when Balenciaga came out. Now Balenciaga is a car, a car.
How about the cell phones now? How about a cell phone for $1,400?
Okay. So I can say this because I personally know this to have happened. When COVID hit, all these little kids had these phones, but their phones weren't able to sustain the programs that the schools were using for at home teaching, at home learning.
You don't need a phone for that. That's
So wait, wait.
that's not a good
So
excuse.
now all these kids with these phones. Now, I had a daycare at the time, and so many parents begged me to
Mm-mm.
stay open, even at risk, because I closed down. But I had to open for certain kids because they did not have the capacity. However, they got phones,
Mhm.
but their phones didn't have the capabilities of sustaining some of these programs, most of the programs. And I had it set up in a way where we had um, laptop computers and desktop computers. So they needed the help.
Mhm.
But you got a phone. I don't have, up to this day, I don't have a $1,400 phone.
I won't do it unless it's necessary. And mine's hasn't been, mine's is like 5 years old. I'm not going to do it. I'm not here to make a billionaire richer, period.
It's something for show. I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes. People look at you. I mean, now I was telling someone when we first got started at with Trendsetters, I said, yo, they take the phone out of your hand and they put the phone and they look at it. Like, what kind of phone is this? Like,
And I have a legitimate reason to spend that kind of money. I can write it off as a business expense.
write it off. We can write it off. We can
You
both write it
know?
off. It's fine. We can write it off. However,
However, why?
my phone take better pictures anyway. We're not even gonna get into that,
Yeah,
but
we have to figure out how we could intersect the garbage that is being sent out in the airwaves to help people alter the way they're thinking.
Even those that have made it, because I've had conversation with several people that have quote unquote made it out of at least poverty.
Hmm.
Okay. So getting trapped in that cycle of poverty is one thing because it does traumatize your mindset and how you understand things and how you think. It is a mindset. Poverty is engraved into our DNA and it affects how we think about things. Okay. There's no way around that.
And that's why I say to God, I know what God is doing. God is going to make things so over the word, I want to find the right word. He would put us through people through a trial that they will have no other choice but to reassess what is a want or a need. This is what is necessary for all of America. All of America. We're not just talking
From
about
what
black,
I understand, this
all
is
of
going to
America.
be a global standpoint, that this initiative that's being pushed is on a global spectrum. It's not even America. We're talking because we're Americans being affected by this right here in our communities. However, this is something that's global. And to think about it, to think about what that actually means is, that within itself is mind blowing. That within itself is mind blowing because that means that, yeah, things are going to get tough.
You made and that's a valid point because when you say it's not going to affect America because everyone patterns off of America, even when we look in every part of it,
Every
music, art, but look at this now, politics. Politics. So that's where you see now where even politicians in other countries are looking at the leadership, values, and way of, because we are now an oligarchy. So it is interesting enough is that America should be leading, but now America has now following the Russians.
I'm going to put a pause in it because you said a word that I want you to explain to our viewers what it means. Oligarchy. And this was a word that I came across and I was like, wow, this is what it is. This sums it up. But a lot of people don't understand what it means. And it's such a simple meaning
Mhm.
and it sums it up. From what I understand, this word oligarchy means that it's one group of people that's going to have rulership over it all. And this is what America is that, it changed from a democratic state
It is a
into one rule. This is
wealthy.
one few people that's going to have.
No, it's not just a few people. The wealthiest people.
Okay,
That is
the
the key word. The wealthiest people are making all of the decisions. So we go
wealthiest, yes.
all the way back to England. So we people left from England to come and create a state, a
Yes,
new country, right? Where there was this big divisions of who were the richest to the poorest. So we
yes.
had the landlords and we had the peasants,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? From back in
Yes.
day, and the queen and the king, they had everything, and their nobles were the landlords, had everything, and then everyone else were peasants, right? And they had their existence was dependent upon the king and queen. So this is where we are right back now. We have an oligarchy, and people, I don't think they understood or didn't have the foresight, or but then again, the data shows that there is a high percentage of illiterate Americans.
Again, oh my gosh, I just had the
Not a black and white
conversation
thing.
earlier. We are not reading, we're not writing. There's people in our community that's fighting one another, literally
Mm.
just fighting, shooting, killing, murdering one another for one another, right?
Mm.
So they got spousal disagreements, they got all kind of domestic violence, they got all kind of things going on within our community. And do you know the percentage of these people who can actually read? Can you imagine me? I'm squaring off with this another woman over a guy, and guy can't even read. Yeah, that Phil, I don't even understand. I'm telling my daughters all the time. I said, you see these young men that only send out these one sentence texts? Ask them a technical question to see. And then they voice clips. You don't want no voice clips. How are you going to assess if these people can read? People can't, and they not reading. To think, I'm already at a disadvantage because I can't do something.
Mhm.
Not doing things that will help them to grow. They're not. They got libraries who do adult literacy. They had my program that was doing adult literacy. They have so many other things out there that can help you to look. People, I don't even
Telephone.
know. They got PBS. I remember PBS used to have Learn to Read, and then God, and it was an adult thing. They had GED programs. Come on, what are we doing right now?
You have a cell phone. You have a $1,200 cell phone, which is a computer in the palm of your hands. You don't need to walk to the library. You got YouTube.
Yeah,
YouTube is
but
the number
one
one
of the
place
reasons
in the
why these
world.
institutions are closing down is because we're not utilizing them, Phil. It's fine that we got YouTube and we got all of these things, but we got people that really are there to help us through we're gonna have to go through it anyway because they're gonna you talking about holding phones in your hands. I'm concerned about when the lights is going. They're gonna limit how much you limit. Look, we know what's coming down. We know what's coming down the pipeline. So if we cannot read, then how? How is the information going to get out?
All right, let me tell you something. I'm let me clear. I'm an independent thinker. So I ain't left, I ain't right. You follow? And in the kingdom where I'm at, it's all about righteousness. The problems we're having is that some people in some parties are not scared to articulate their viewpoint, right? Then you have others that are very quiet on what needs to be said. You have many politicians, we're talking now, those that are on the blue spectrum, color spectrum, need to say the harsh things that needs to be said to their people.
Well, things are going to change. That
With
doesn't
with
even matter.
their dependency, because when this stuff come, they're ill prepared. When this change that is going to come, they're ill prepared because they still
Everybody's ill
tell them.
prepared.
They tell
Nobody, 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 not a politician, not anybody said, hey, you guys, y'all should be looking into this Project 2025 thing. Until when? Last year? This thing has been out since how many administration? I think I heard Reagan administration. It was the one who started this Project 2025 thing.
them.
So why are we here now that we don't know so much?
Right. Yeah, because
Then that should have been incorporated in the curriculum of things. You understand
absolutely,
what I'm saying?
absolutely, absolutely,
So
absolutely.
we worried about we focused on all the wrong things. We
Mm.
focus on all the wrong things, Phil. And then when people say it to you, you hear, you get a buzz, you quicker go on a TikTok or some, I don't even know where you looking, getting your information, than
TikTok,
actually taking advantage of the
TikTok,
actual document.
TikTok. You know that whole TikTok stuff that people don't understand what's going on. The TikTok is now going to be owned by a certain people with certain agendas to push back to the younger minds? Because there's
Yes.
not going to
But
be
this
no
is
neutral
it
space.
already manipulated the minds that they can't, they shortened the attention span, right?
Right.
They already manipulated the minds that the attention span. This is how come when people sit on platforms and they're talking for an hour, people falling asleep, they scanning through, they start to pick up their phones. They're not listening to
Mm.
to important, impactful subject matters like what we're doing. There's other people that's out here that have platforms and are using it to educate and try to push a message and try to teach people what time it is. But no, if it's not 3 minutes, then
Yeah, because the doctors understand that the brains, when you watch these short bits of information back to back to back, you're scrambling your brains because your brains, yes, your brains might be sharp, but after a while, you're short soaking your brains because your brain still has to digest this information
cannot
in many
retain the
different forms. And
information. It's just funneling in and
yeah,
out, in and out. You're not going to retain anything. And this is what I
exactly.
try to
That's
tell
the
people
dangers
all
of
the time.
That's the dangers of it. And people don't understand. I don't do TikTok. I'm old school. I don't watch TV. I rather read my content, take my time, you know, picture thinking. I don't know what people understand when I say maybe you all need to go Google picture thinking because the brain thinks in pictures when it's reading. It could now process information and formulate things in the head. We need to allow our brains to work. We need to allow our God-given gift to be able to reason and analyze information on our own without having a celebrity now tell us how we need to think.
How, you know, as I was saying before, a lot of people who have made it out of poverty, I've had good, solid conversations with. And a lot of them have told me when I'm asking, because I'm asking, what's the give back after all of this, And they find it hard to turn back around because of the way that they had to fight to get to what they have, and using terms like crabs in a barrel and people will stab you in your back. It's hard to get to that status where poverty is no longer, I'm comfortable. It's no longer a thought that you've gained financial security and you're not thinking about what you left behind anymore. You're comfortable because it was a scrap to get out of that. I heard a young man tell me, and he was really trying. He was going to work. I know he was going to school, and he was really trying to make something of himself at the time, right? And he was walking across the street. I believe a girl was walking with her two sons or her two kids, and she turned around and made a statement like, "Yo, who do you think you are?"
Mm.
Is a man who's going to school and a young man that's going to school and
Correct.
also working,
Mm.
and I guess he was dressed presentably, and she asked, "Who do you
Oh,
think you are?"
goodness. This is so now she's looking to cut the man's below the kneecap. That's basically what it is.
And
You shouldn't have any ambitions.
so many, it's ambition for what? Stop, Phil. Ambition for what? You see this term ambition? Because we all have our own sense of goals. What my ambitions are different than what your ambitions may be, are different than other people's ambitions may be. So I
Right.
can't use a word like ambitions but it's what's your mindset? You understand what I'm saying? And this is
Mm.
something that we had said. What's your mindset if you see somebody and what is that telling those kids?
Right. That's what I'm saying. She's really setting limitations for on the children's.
How many times has this been done? And then people have to fight out of that.
Wow.
People really in our Black communities have to fight out of that. And we know it. We hear in other communities, in the Jewish community, this is a thing. They help one another. In the Muslim community, you hear, and they'll tell you, if I don't know somebody, I'm going to make a call, and they make a call, and that person, and they get the wheel turning. Black people, when they have information, they keep it all to themselves.
Yeah, hoarding. We hoard. We
You
hoard.
understand? Well, I'll get back to you with that information.
We hoard. Yeah.
You
I mean,
understand what I'm saying? Like if it, you gotta let it go for more to come in. That's how I look at it. And that's why I started Trendsetters Talks,
that's why
because
we're here now.
that's how I look at it. That's how I started Trendsetters Talk, because I'm going to get a million phone calls. Heidi, how you get this, or where you get this, and da 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 da, right? Where do you get all of this? So let the people come on and advocate for themselves. You talk about what you're doing.
hmm
I'm going to tag you to it. I'll put all your information on it and let it be known. What am I? How is that all the information? How is all, like you said, Phil, how is all of that information that you got in your head going to benefit you? There's a lifetime that you won't be able to use half of the stuff you know.
But the thing that's where me and my team call ourselves grave robbers because we're not taking this information to the grave. We're right now.
Oh,
We are robbing the grave
oh,
right now. We right this very second we are robbing the grave, and we want people who's listen to this to share this information so
yes.
that they now could now become part of the grave robbing process.
Right.
And this
And jump aboard. And
and jump
jump
aboard.
aboard. Jump
Yeah,
aboard.
do your
You
own
know,
thing in your own
and,
little community.
and jump aboard. We got a lot of people who know stuff that you and I don't know. Come on, let's talk about it. You understand? We said we were going to curate a space for these financial conversations, but you and I both know we go left, right, sideways,
I got a
today.
space. I got a space with an organization in Bed-Stuy that they really want to do stuff like that. Beautiful space, and this is what we're gonna do. My team, we're here, and just like you said, I bring you in one day. I have accountants, I have psychologists, I have everyone that I know. You follow what I'm saying? And all
What
of us
was you
come
saying?
and rob graves.
That's what.
This is what we're gonna be doing, and everybody should be doing the same.
And across the board, this is what we should be doing. We gotta start helping people to think and give the information out. We gotta turn back around. We all in it together. We gotta turn around and help one another. If your eyes meet my eyes and my eyes meet yours, that
Yeah,
means we in the same boat. Phil,
exactly.
you said something. You said that this next couple of years is going to be a turnaround effect.
Yes, yes, I believe that.
Right? I began saying it years ago that I was feeling like this is a Noah's Ark time, right? Either you
Mm-hmm.
getting on this boat,
Yeah, yep,
you're going to be left behind, and those that are left behind is going to be like what was it? The pillar of salt.
yeah, yeah. My brother said that last week. He said, you know, um, he said, I
We got
reach
a
out
small window to get it right. We do have some time.
to get it right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And we
We
need,
do have some time to get it right. And this is the plea with my people. Like, yo, whew,
let me share something with
it
you.
shouldn't have gotten to where it is for us to make certain changes and to make certain decisions, but we're here now.
Let me say something. I want to share something with you. Right? And it's politics because politics is necessary because all of our lives are impacted by political decisions,
Mhm,
right? And politics is not a game of checkers, it's a game of chess,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
So Biden is going out and he's pardoning this one and he's pardoning that one. So I'm not going to call the politician's name, but people going to pick up on it. I sent someone who know that person personally, and I said, he is on his way out. Ask him to give an official apology for slavery.
Mm. Mm.
Because he's got nothing to lose.
Mm.
Because if the new administration does it, it's the end of the Blue Party.
Mm.
Just trying to show them something. Crickets.
Crickets.
Crickets. But yet.
But you should expect that type of response now, Phil. Look at
Because it is a game of chess. And if you cannot play chess, you shouldn't be in politics. You should not be in politics because there is nothing ethical about politics. It's a game of chess.
But we started that when we were talking about America being how it started and where it is. It's a business state. America's a business state. It's not for the people. It was never for the people. It was always about the money.
Keep going. Keep going.
It was always about the money. It was never about the people. It started on slavery. It started off of moonshine. It started off of industrial revolution. The country went in depression how many times? It was never about the people. So how is it, you know what I think happened? There's such an influx of migrants into this country with their own philosophy that people have forgotten what America and what American history is, really and truly. That everybody came with their own ideologies from their different countries and their own thoughts they're remiss. America is removed. And I say this 1,000 times. I can't stand to hear make America great again. It's already a great country. They got people dying to get across the borders.
Absolutely. There is something here that they have to get.
You know how many countries, because of America and the open state policy, you know how many families back in other countries across the world
Benefiting.
have benefited and continue to benefit in generations in the groves because of sustaining in America.
Mm-hmm.
And then these same people, Phil, watch what's going on. They, they plead their country and they take this and they walk out and say, America is not their country.
Mm-hmm.
They don't expect the Americans to have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have.
They don't expect the politicians that hear how we speak because, just like you said, guess what? The stupid entertainer is going to say, yo, this is what they talking about in our neighborhood. This is what they worried about. This is what they concern is. And the people are saying, oh, yeah?
Exactly. Giving them a strategy.
Oh,
How
yeah?
to manipulate them.
This,
Absolutely. That's chess.
advancing, since
That
our
is chess.
productivity, since our collaboration is nowhere in our mind.
This is chess. This is how they get. This is how they getting. This is how the red they're playing chess, the blue playing checkers, and when you really look at the lineup of some of the people that I didn't watch the inauguration, I wasn't going to do that.
I watched it. I
But I
watched it
listened
one
to the
night.
people, the lineup, and how the alignment of who they're using to get to where they got to go. You follow what I'm saying? The question.
Why don't we do that? Why don't we align ourselves? And this is what it's about. This
We're
is
not
what it's about for us right now. Alignment. We got to line ourselves up to get to where we got to go collaboratively. If we got to line up together, it doesn't make any sense. We don't show up when it's time to show up, Phil. That's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole big thing. But the fact is that we do not have We do not have one respected leader like the Honorable Dr. Martin Luther King. We don't have one leader that has that type of respect because of his integrity to do what and say what is right. That is the reason why we're not here. Strategically in war, when you cut off the head of the snake, that's it. And since that time, we have not had one person, not even one in decades that every black person could look to and says, I will follow that person.
You know, I would agree and I disagree too, because since Martin Luther King, America has been flooded with migrants and it changed the tone of America. You understand what I'm saying? It really
Yeah.
did.
But
We
we're
can,
talking about black leadership.
and we're talking about black leadership. There's no way that and this is just an observation, right? And we're going to stick with Martin Luther King since this is Martin Luther
It is
King,
his day.
right? Since that time, Phil, since that time, Black America has went through so much change, so much so that again, there's no there's no nothing that Black America has that they even want to identify as being a Black American.
I,
So much so. This needs to be restored. It needs to be, it's too much. It's too much poverty. It's too much bad, stupid thoughts. It's too much everything. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. It's just been a constant, a constant, a constant, a constant, a constant. And no one's saying enough is enough. Phil, you and I had a conversation this weekend about all these people that are getting killed in Canarsie,
mm-hmm.
right? How many do you know have shown up and held people accountable?
Well, when it comes down to the phrase Black Lives Matter, it's a piece of crap.
Why you wondering?
Listen to me. Black lives seems to only matter when that life lost was taken by an officer in blue. Every life,
Mm,
whether it was lost, right,
I hear you.
by a gang, it should matter. We shouldn't wait when a cop shoot someone to come out and protest. In our community, we should
All
be out
lives matter.
there coming out. Or somebody
We
gets shot.
should be coming out. We should be coming out. All lives matter. It doesn't matter.
Hell, that's what I'm saying.
It
So
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're the good guy, the bad guy, the up guy, the down guy. It don't matter. You one of us. We should
do
be
you know why
joking up.
it should matter? It is a mother's child.
It's a father's child. It's a
Mother's
brother. It's
child.
a
It's a
grandmother's
brother.
child.
There you go. So we don't have respect for our own black lives.
And this is the reason why we got to change the way we thinking, because how is it that we don't have that for one another?
Self-respect. Self-respect initially, and then respect for the color of our skin secondly, and then respect for the individual communities we live in, and then then another respect that we are lacking is the respect for the black race, going all the way back wherever from the motherland, anywhere stop. Because let me tell you something. I saw something that was so significant and so impactful. There was a Jewish guy that got shot on the FDR ramp.
Mhm.
And the Jews and them got down on their knees with white towel, wiping the blood on that exit, or no, the on ramp next to Pace Universities. And their
Mhm.
statement was, Jewish blood is not cheap.
Jesus, Jesus, Jesus,
That impact me. That's decades ago. You
Jesus.
follow what I say? But I want to I want to run a scripture back to you because I'm a man of God, not the white Jesus. Right? Going back to why there is no one in the spirit of Martin Luther King anymore. John 15:13. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Dr. Martin Luther King had enough threats against him that he knew in his I Have a Dream that the vision came to him
Yes.
that his time was near.
Demise was gone. Yes.
He
Yes.
did not shut his mouth. That's why I said that there is, when you look back, we're talking about people who have integrity and good
Mhm.
thinking, and what I would even say spiritual intelligence. When they look at that man, you have to compare that man in the spirit of Jesus Christ. So why we don't, people who know
Let
and
me
people who looking back now and watching back at the whole incident and everything and looking back, they know that there ain't no man that comparable to Martin, or in the spirit of Martin, that they want to follow.
look at this. Look at this.
Those
You said
particular
Black Lives Matter. You said Black Lives Matter. There was an incident, right? We everybody was in turmoil over the guy who got killed in Staten Island. What was his name when they kneeled down on his neck? What was his name again?
Oh,
The big guy now.
oh, George.
Yes, yes, yes. George Floyd, right? Okay. The whole of America
Mhm. Yes.
went bananas, right? This is one time. Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. Here now. So somebody was at that Guyanese club on Church and Rogers, right?
Mhm.
Upstairs. And here come the policemen marching.
Mhm.
They got horses and they videoing it with their camera. I'm watching them live. I'm sitting in my house watching them live. I'm like, yes, boy. Hey, they go get to run for their money now. Mister, do you know those people took off? I said, I went in everybody room in my house. I said, if I see Oya standing with this Black Lives movement,
Mhm.
Oya can't come back inside of here. It was like, what? I said, nah. This thing is a joke. Who's willing to lay down their life?
Mhm.
Who's willing to give it what it's going to take? Do you
Yeah.
know that's where we come into right now? We're going to come into a position where we got to lay it all on the line. All. It's coming to a time of all or nothing.
But I tell you, one of the things though is gonna be a lot of white folks that are actually gonna be standing up for the black people.
Because we don't
The
stand up
black
for
people don't stand up
ourselves.
for themselves.
And it's ridiculous. It's sad to see. I'm in a red state now. It's sad. We don't stand up for ourselves. It's sad. These people really honestly, they pity us. Do you know how insulting it is for somebody in another race to pity such phenomenal people like
Mhm.
we are pitied? They don't remember the contributions we've made to America, the stop sign, the line in the street, the space shuttle to the moon. They don't
Mhm.
remember none of that because of what we show them on a consistent
Constant
basis.
basis. On a constant basis. I'm gonna send you a video this gentleman said. Um, because we're talking now about spiritual intelligence.
Yes,
I know we're talking about spiritual warfare
yes,
and generational curses.
absolutely.
People don't listen. If you don't want to listen to this part of it, feel free to pass it because we're gonna go deep
Yeah,
on
we
this
gotta say,
here.
we gotta call it what it is.
Yeah,
We gotta call it.
Our music, there's segments of our music, today's music has a negative spiritual energy. Now, let me explain to you when, as you prefaced earlier on, that I've been in the music industry from since I was 7. So there isn't anything about it that I can't tell you
I know,
about
know you're
when it
right.
comes. So when people join gangs, right? So they go to witch doctors and
Jesus.
obia men, obia women. So when you see they're wearing beads and stuff like that, different stuff, the voodoo, they went to some voodoo high priest or priestesses to pray over thing. This is like an armor.
Mm,
So in the demonic world, they get their protection based upon what those witch doctors and then put on their armor, their chains and all of these kinds of stuff. They certain clothes they have rituals done over these clothes and stuff like that. But here's one of the things. If you understand anything about the spiritual realm and the
mm,
physical realm, which is everybody that just focus on what they can see, there is another invisible realm, which is the spiritual realm, where the demonic forces and the forces of good battling on a constant basis. So when you're praying for protection, you're praying for the spiritual good, which is God, to send angels to protect you. But also do remember the only reason that you have a guardian angel is because there's harm against you.
right,
So
right. That's like,
when they join these gangs, and many of these rappers and them are now operating in this spirit and the covering of demonic forces. But now remember, when they are singing these music, they're pouring out their spirit. As you know, we have something called the spirit of carnival. When you see that is a spirit of revelry, bacchanal, right? You got you have the spirit of Christmas, which is the season where people are love, joy, gift giving, right? So you have all of these different spirits that people are under because Christmas time, everything is nice. You understand? People tone it down a bit. A lot of the music that the kids are listening to are pouring demonic spirits into them. That is why when you see the kids and them outing acting on the way, they're under a demonic control because evil, negative energy has been poured into their spirit, not just the words alone,
not
because
just,
words carry a lot of weight. But if the same way I could say I love you, but I could always say love, like the same way like how women want to call themselves, and nobody can edit it, but some women want to say I'm a bitch. But we understand that when you know what a bitch is, my friend, he that's what he does. His business is breeding dogs for the FBI. So the female is a bitch. Why would a woman want to refer to herself as a bitch? Because remember, the bitch, somebody who has a male dog, a complete random stranger is bringing a male dog over to have sex with this bitch. Why would you put that spirit? Remember, whatever you say after I am, that is who you are.
right.
When you hear these people calling themselves I'm a nigger or you're my nigger, how are you sanitizing this word? How are you why do black people get offended when a white person use the word nigger? But because you black, that only gives you the right for you to insult yourself because you're saying that the white man is insulting you because he's calling you a nigger. But aren't you problem? Don't you see a problem there that you should have a problem the same way calling
You
your
should have a problem the same way. Absolutely.
this is
Absolutely.
a big issue that the
And
ignorance of
the
black
word,
people.
it's not even the words in the music. What I've observed, Phil, is even the speed of the music. And we're gonna go back to shortening and this being mind control as well.
Absolutely.
The music is going so fast. and garbage. When you translate it, it's nothing productive. It's nothing. You're right, because it's talking about mixing pills with cough medicine and then swallowing it down. Some of the music even talk about suicide and different ways to,
Yes,
you
yes,
know, to
yes.
alive yourself. There's so many things when you slow that music down. Cause yeah, it got a catchy beat. I'm gonna, I'm bumping to it. Whatever it.
Take away the beat and just have them read the lyrics as poetry.
But still, the beat is going so fast. This is also playing to their minds that they can't have a long. Come on, most of our music growing up, Phil, those songs were 17 minutes long. Love's
Mm.
Message was how long? 40
Mhm.
something
Yeah. Oh
minutes.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. That's what I mean. Everything was creative then. That you
You
can't
you
compare.
understand what I'm saying? So,
Right.
and now we going down to, and what I've heard is a 3 minute, 3.12 second minute song
Mm.
on a repeat. That catchphrase is playing on a repeat. So how much actual time in music? How much time in song? So in
Mhm.
3 minutes, you done changed the way that I think about things.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Reprogram the mind.
You done-
It's no
First, you
longer.
sped me up, right? First, you sped me up, and I love fast rapping. Understand that?
It's
I'm
not.
Jay-Z. I'm with Busta Rhymes. I'm all with it. I'm all with it.
Mhm.
Trust me. However, what I'm hearing these kids
Content.
bumping to now at 3.12 seconds, I'm scared.
It's the lyrical content.
I just don't even want them listening to music. I got teens.
I don't listen to any of it. I don't listen.
I don't, but I know that my kids do. And that's why I'm saying to you that
Hmm.
it's so much different entities that's coming into play. You're saying spiritual warfare is mind control, it's so many different things coming into play all at one time that it's annihilating our new youth.
But do you know what it is? The music is behavior modification. The entertainment industry is behavior modification because it went back to the point with BET when there
Yeah.
was this big pushback at BET because when they had the videos, all of the girls were dressing in a certain way, and this is the way how they now had to change how they were raised to fit in because from when they're looking at it, they're thinking, well, this is the only way how I'm going to get a man. So I got to behave that way. So when black entertainment, when we go back in the 70s, in the period when Marvin Gaye was there, when Dr. Martin Luther King movement was there, all of the artists were putting out content that were elevating the minds and supporting the project and moving the project because they were now using the content to to help people
And the
to
platform.
embrace the movement because it's the lyrics and the music. Our music is work in this generation is further destroying the black generation here all around the world because anything that happens in music
In
or
America.
culture is an
Right,
export.
right.
Politics is an export because everything that is going on politically now, what we see here is going to go out. The same way when we see everything that was going on in the acceptance of certain lifestyle has been an export as well because back in the days you had to keep that under wraps. So we have a lot to really think of how what we are looking at is actually modifying the way we think or programming the way we think. And I don't have
Reprogramming,
a television.
deprogramming, deprogramming,
Programming.
deprogramming the way we think,
Excuse me.
and you said something that I can't get, but which is being exploited. The
Yeah.
amount of talent, the amount of things that we have not benefited from. And we'll leave it at music. that our communities have produced peace, so much. And
Absolutely.
it's all over the world.
Yes.
Urban style, urban dressing, music, culture. It's being embraced all over the world. American culture.
Mm-hmm.
However, we are being pitied in America. We're gonna leave with that. We gotta get we gotta get our shit together.
we just need we just need people to, and parents and politicians.
We'll never get off of the line if we start talking about
Politicians. No,
but
no, I'm just gonna leave. Politicians, you all need to stop pandering for black votes. Please. And really just like, they can do whatever they want as long as they vote for me. That, this is where we at. Stop telling people, you know, like, you give everybody a voucher, right? And there's not enough places for it. Your voucher system is a mess. You give the people a voucher for the homeowners to keep their house 3 months off of the market. You know what I'm saying? And you
so
keep
what I wanna
putting them in the welfare system locked up. What is this going on with you? Because what, you need their votes? You're promising them something that you cannot give?
all of these systems are going to be disbanded. You know what's coming down the pipeline as regards to the federal government. New York is the first one on the chopping block. You know that Trumpy got a personal agenda and it's coming to hit y'all like a tornado. Let's call it what it is. You know what time it is. Y'all unmasked that man Conto way too much. He coming
And
and
he
now
was
the first
already,
on the chopping block, what they could do, make an example. He's going to make an example out of New York. Although it is our financial industry, they got other states. I'm not saying nothing that they building up.
yeah.
Okay.
And I listened to an interview.
They got states. I ain't said nothing. Look.
Adams Adams said the law is the law. He has to comply with the law. He just met with the king in his palace in Florida, and he says the law is the law. What he said that last administration costed the New York budget some $6 billion, $6 to $7 billion. So he blamed that administration because he has no loyalty to that past administration. His loyalty is to New York. So those who feel that all of the appeasement that you have gotten in the past is going to happen, it is not going to happen.
It's definitely not. It's definitely
So
not.
whoever's saying what they need to pander for your votes, you all need to ask the question.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, we in it together. We'll try to get our people together in such a way where they start to recognize things for what they are and come out of the fog. It's time to clear
Hmm.
fog. It's time to, you
Yeah.
know, get your vision right.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, we talked about um illiteracy. We
Yes.
talked about food insecurity. We
Yes.
talked about closing of hospitals. We talked about kids and people getting gunned down in the street. I mean, how much more
Hmm.
before we start to get our vision right?
Yeah.
We can't keep working and working and working and working. And this is another thing. Most of the people in, the impoverished communities, right? The underserved communities, the Black
Hmm.
communities, most of the people are migrants and they're funneling that money back into other countries, but they're living in poverty here. But they're not changing the situation back home. Although they're building nicer houses, they're getting out of those little
Yeah.
structured,
Hmm.
but they're not creating any opportunity there. So I'm in a big lavish house, but my belly's still hungry. My kids still can't go to school.
Mm.
People walk in the street without no shoes. I've seen kids still not go to school to this day because people can't afford to buy uniforms, but you got a beautiful house because people sending money back to get you out of galvanized living.
Hmm. Yeah.
But they're not creating an opportunity.
Yeah, we know that there is not enough of this real talk. There's no real talk going on. Everybody
You're
is
competing with one another and everybody's starving still.
yeah, everybody's is scared to say what needs to be said. That's how change is gonna come. When pain
They see
comes.
how much better overall in the system of things that we will be. We can better assist America with finance if we're at poverty level and under minority, and we have a 3 trillion spending capacity.
Mm,
Imagine when we equip ourselves,
yes,
what we can turn this country into for real.
absolutely. But who's
Why
having
was I thinking like that?
who's having those conversations? Those who are in the platforms that when they get to those level, when the hood supported them, so now they get on their platforms. Why aren't they giving back? Not giving people, because if you give somebody something, right,
No, you
they're gonna waste it. So you're gonna teach people how to fish.
gotta teach people,
What are they doing?
but you implement into the system. You implement into the system.
Not a matter of implementing into the system.
I'm
It's
saying you giving into the schools, you giving into the things that we can better equip, and even the information.
the information, it's the mind. It's changing the mindset. Changing the
And
mindset to
what are
stop.
we seeing? We only seeing the fast cars. We only seeing the jewelry. We only
Right,
seeing this and that and the other.
right.
Why can't you show us that you're sending your kids to better schools? Why?
But their kids, which one of them?
Oh, this is
What they got?
their life. Look, their real lifestyles is off, you know.
One of those rappers' son got a whole lot of heat um, because he was rapping about things that he has never experienced because his father raised him up in an exclusive neighborhood with everything that he got. Yet his lyrics is about poverty. This is somebody now, and the other rappers had to bring heat to him because he was being a hypocrite. And you was just now trying to figure out now how you can be like your dad, exploiting the community by talking a whole heap of trash, which is something you never experienced, so that now you can get money. This is the hypocrisy that goes on in the black community by a lot of those people out there. I know the business. I know the business. I've been in it too long.
But we exploit one another all the time. How many, what was it? These smoke shops, how much liquor stores, how much false faith based churches that you see.
Mm-hmm.
All that is exploitation. All of it is.
All of it. But
All of it.
look at this stuff. And we started out talking about America as a business, right? But look
America is a business,
at
but you know,
the business now. The business now is the weed. This is the business because remember it was illegal. It was illegal for people to have
it
and smoke
is an
the same amount of weed.
exploitation.
Government now is the government is legally giving people permission to get their weed because the government can tax it. It's going to generate a whole lot of money. The black people ain't seeing that.
But I said to you, we started off this conversation talking about moonshine. This,
Right.
this is just what it is. We
Same
gotta
thing.
figure out in our community how we could make ourselves some money. We got our hand out too much. Ain't nothing coming down the pipeline. The well is dried up. All those resources is dry.
Mhm.
We got to figure out now how we can do it for ourselves. And I want to leave on that note. This is
Yep.
Financial Conversations with Phil Benn on Trendsetters Talk. We're going to get it right, y'all. Next week, we're going to be on same time, same bad channel, same bad chime. I'm going to put the information where you can jump on and have these conversations with us. Please, y'all, please, come on. It's not a us thing. It's a we thing. This is the
Mhm.
slogan for 2025. It's not a me thing. It's not a you thing. It's a we thing. We have to get it right, y'all. We have to get it right. Even if we saying stuff that just mash your corn toe, you just don't want to hear it. It's
Yes,
okay. It's okay.
yes, indeed.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. It's
Hmm.
okay. We gotta change the way we thinking. We gotta get it right, y'all. We got a new administration. Happy birthday in heaven, Martin Luther King. Oh my goodness. Great man, great man, great
Great,
man, great
great,
man.
great, great
There'll
man.
never, never, never be another. There'll never be another. There'll
Yes.
never be another.
Still is a great example to attain. We don't want people to just die for no reasons. Like, people are, we shoot down our brother or sister or do something harmful. Your death should matter. Your life should matter more. But even if you're going to die, you better die for something that is really going to leave something positive other than just a mural on the wall.
People who come behind you. We're not getting on those murals right now. I done spoke about that over the weekend with another host, Jabril Jalal. But we get on that. We get on that. Let's get off. Let's get off. Let's get off. We talked too much. I love you, Phil. Thanks for giving us the
Love you, my
time.
sister.
All right, we take care. Be blessed.
Blessings.